I'm out here. What's up, folks? What's happening? How you doing? How's your week going? What's today? Wednesday, I think. I don't keep up. What's happening? Good to see you, MJ. Nathan, what's happening? James, what's going on? Where's my mouse at? Come on, get here, get here, get here. Gotta wrangle it in. Um, man. First order of business. I haven't seen many spam comments, so that's pretty good. Every now and then I see some and I report them or whatever. So don't fall for the spam comments telling you won something. Please don't do that. Quick update on the AC200P. They did refund me. They set the refund in motion. I haven't gotten the refund yet. But then I emailed them. I was like, yeah, your email was confusing. Maybe you kind of chopped up the responses. No worries if you did, but it did talk about like replacing it. I said, I know sometimes companies can replace a device and offer a refund because of the inconvenience. And they were like, yeah, it was just, a misunderstanding in the email. We agreed to do the refund. And I was like, you know what? Cool. Good money. No harm, no foul in that regard. Hey, Siobhan, what's happening? Um, I got a list. That list probably will evolve. I did restart my computer. I did move my router out into the open. So hopefully this experience is a pleasant one for you guys. Bit ratedly. Just made that up. I did want to I wanted to revisit the conversation we had last time about the circuits and the whole male to male cable. I can't emphasize enough that you guys have to be careful with that stuff. I'm about to order a it's an extension cord. Well, it's not an extension cord, but it's a switch that will plug into that cable and then have an on off switch in the middle. I feel like I need to be really careful with that kind of stuff. I have not used it. I am not pressed to use it, but I did want to have the cable. So I bought the cable. Uh, I was watching a video about just how dangerous it can be. And I hit my wife up because I was at work because it was just in my little bin here. And I told her, I called her, I was like, hey, babe, can you grab it and put it in my closet or our closet or whatever? I just wanted it to be out of the way because, I have little kids. They don't mess around with electrical stuff, but all it takes is for one time somebody to get curious. That thing was bright yellow. I was like, yeah, can you put it away for me? Because the cable is dangerous. That whole process is dangerous. Power stations can help to mitigate that because their AC outlets have on and off switches, so you kind of have some flexibility there. But I wouldn't have been at ease if I wasn't able to like just put it away. So I did that, and I'm gonna order a dip with an on off switch, just another layer of redundancy. Did I update you guys on the electrician coming out? I don't know if it was after the live or before. I'll tell you anyway. The guy came out. He recommended changing out my box. This is as it relates to me kind of getting a transfer switch. Before I get a transfer switch, I imagine I have to update this panel, and I want to update the panel. I don't want to have any problems. So he said he said he would send me a quote. He has not yet. I have not received it. I need to check my spam because he said it was an application that could tell me or send out the quote. But he was saying like 2 grand to do it. But what he wanted to do is he wanted to also update my line on the outside, the thing that goes up the side of your house to the pole. He wanted to update that as well. So I told him about the transfer switch because we were just shooting the breeze. And he said he had to research it for a lady who loses power all the time. So he's kind of familiar with it in general because of that research project. So that's kind of where that's at. I haven't gotten a quote. Then we had a plumber come by to do some work for us, a guy Dell went to high school with. And I asked him if he had any like electrician contacts, and he said he did. So he's probably going to change a toilet out for us in the next day or so. And I mean, we could do it, but I don't want to. I also would like to have a professional touch to it, and something that I didn't do myself. So I'm gonna be seeing who his contact is. Hopefully, his contact is not any of the contacts that we've gotten before. To put it in perspective, the first guy was saying like 1,300, but that was just for the box. This other guy is talking about replacing the box and the line. I had some questions for him that he couldn't quite wrap his mind around. It just almost seems like, you know how somebody, when you're talking to somebody and they don't really hear what you're saying, they want to talk to what they think you're saying. Because he was talking about how I would have like a bunch of circuits in there, and I was like, well, you know, what good are the circuits if my house is wired a certain way? What will the circuits do? And he couldn't really like articulate it. He was more so caught up on the fact that, you know, we had a 100 amp panel, and he was like, yeah, you know, that's for how when houses were back in the whatevers. And I was like, to be honest with you, man, we don't use a whole lot of power. So, you know, we have the power go out every now and then. Something interesting he did tell me was, because I told him that the breaker trips every now and then between my fridge and my dishwasher. And he said, you know, well, even that, the breaker can have wear on whatever it breaks. So I had never heard that before. There's no reason why I would have heard that before, but I thought that that was interesting. I don't know if he was just trying to tell me that so that I could be a little more pressed to get the work done, but that's what he said. Let me see what y'all snapping and treving about. What's up, Blood Gaze? What's happening? Hey, Kimber Jack, good to see you. I should have been an electrician. Sheesh. But you know it would be done right and to code. He also told me that I asked him about an inspector coming out, and he was saying that that's not necessarily baked into the price, but I could pay for that. So I asked him, I was like, you know what? I heard that if you don't have it inspected, if something happens, your insurance company can kind of flake on you. And he was like, he wasn't really definitive about that. I mean, he was definitive, but he was more so like, you kind of, you know, it's your prerogative kind of thing. But he said he was insured, so I don't know if that's sufficient. I actually have a Caucasian friend of mine. I actually met him via YouTube as well. He sells insurance, so I'm gonna ask him and see what he has to say about that. I see Dominique Unique. What's happening? Good to see you. Let's see here. So that's the transfer switch situation. Let me pull up my my list here, things I want to discuss with y'all. But y'all doing all right, man. You know what I mean? I know life happens to all of us. Y'all cool. I had a question about y'all solar setups. Like I know I saw the Blood Gaze was talking about his situation, how he had his something on a smart switch. I still haven't gotten into that. I haven't found a smart switch that I like. Set Tight kind of messed me up because he was talking about something called Zigbee or something like that. Because I was just gonna do Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. He was like, Bluetooth is crap. And I was like, well, I like it because it's short range. But he was like, look up this, and he sent me the video, and I started watching the video, but I didn't finish it. So there's this other standard for remote controlling devices that he mentioned that I have to look into. So I haven't messed around with the power switch. I just wish EcoFlow would put that option into devices. I wish power stations would put that option into devices that have apps that you can control them. Now, UPS is one way to control that. Well, not control that, but UPS allows you to have the thing plugged in and then it just passes through the power. But I want to be able to have it plugged in and just tell a device, hey, don't charge from the wall until I tell you to, or until it reaches a certain point. And I think the AC300 has those type of like priority modes. I don't know. I don't have one. I was talking to Jason Noyd about it casually in some respect, and he mentioned it. But you know, how much detail can we go into? I could actually follow up with him on that. Oh, he's here. What's up, Jason Noyd? Paycheck, what's happening? So the AC300 does that. I know it sucks to have to write it, But maybe you should do a video on it. That would be a dope video. Let's what would be appealing in that? I don't know. You can figure it out. I would like to see a video on the implications of that PV priority and how it helps you to do whatever. If that's save money on your bill, make sure that your power station doesn't really die, or it's hard pressed to die, or it doesn't cycle it as much. That's kind of where my brain goes with it. That's what I want to see. But yeah, let me check on this little girl. Y'all give me a second because my wife is napping and the baby is laying down. She seems pretty quiet, so she must be good. Oh, yeah. What's going on with y'all systems? That's what I was asking. What's up, Leela Presti? Moving right along here. Review on video. It has all AC300. Oh, okay. I knew you had it, but you haven't. Okay, I got you. I love the cameras. They're a necessary function. They're a necessary function for real. Simple Notes. I do use an app called Simple Note. I like it because it is simple. I have tried Evernote and OneNote. I thought about using OneNote. The one thing that I liked about OneNote when I was in my more intellectual phase, and as it relates to like the Black community and solutions and stuff like that, I was entertaining trying to write a book in some capacity. And I like OneNote because you could click anywhere and start writing. So I don't have the skill nor the discipline to really put together a book, but I wanted to be able to start working and using OneNote, and then I could kind of type stuff anywhere, and I can just have these thoughts in this whatever. But people ain't gonna read that. Not just off of GP. People don't even read straight up. So I put together a shed that is powered by my solar array. I'll send you some pictures. I owe you some pictures. Yeah, you do. You do owe me some pictures, sir. But I get it. It's all good. Yeah, I like OneNote for that reason. I use it a little bit at work, but organization is my kind of thing. I like to keep thoughts and ideas kind of separate, and then you could kind of like use the tabs, and then there's notebooks, and you could have pages. So it was like really something that I was really into, to try and gather my notes. Just to give you an idea of how long ago that was when netbooks were a thing. So I always wanted like a little portable small netbook so that I could kind of be more productive, because I have this thing with procrastination, and tech kind of allows me to be a little more productive, not as productive as I want to be. And it doesn't allow most of us to be as productive as we want to be if we're all keeping it a buck. We have these little mini computers in our pockets, and we, scroll Facebook and Instagram. A quick deviation. Wayne was giving me a hard time because I'm thinking about replacing my phone. I'm thinking about buying another phone, and I like to buy used phones because they're cheaper. Like, I've always had this thing where I'd rather get two nice older phones that are previously flagship phones for like $400 instead of spending $400 on one phone. Now phones are crazy. So it's like I could buy 3 or 4 phones for what people be paying for like one phone. So I could get a Pixel 4 in mint condition from off of this site called Swappa, SWAPPA.com. I'll type it in the chat. I could get a used Pixel 4 in mint condition for like $200. So that works for me. I'm also a tech enthusiast, so it ain't for everybody, but Swappa is one of the more legitimate ways you can get a used phone. Amazon's listings are ways you could get a phone as well for a good price. My little sister, she got a S10 when her phone broke for like $250 or something like that. And that phone was out with like 2-3 years ago. It's like, yeah. Anywho. Oh, nice. I was actually talking with Kimberjack. She said she bought a Pixel from off of Swappa, and she said the Pixel is still going strong. Yeah, it should be fine. I had one die on me on some humbug stuff, but it was cool. My phone keeps freezing up. I'm down the rock with Morse code. What kind of phone do you have, MJ? You have a Pixel 4a. Did you buy it from you seem like a Verizon cat, Jason Noy. Where'd you get your Pixel from? Yeah, budget, but the camera is awesome. So here's just to put that in perspective as it relates to how I think. You could buy a Pixel 4a or a 3a or a 5a to even coming out with a 6a. That's Google's budget line of their flagship phone, but it has the same camera in it. Typically, that's been the trend. I don't pay close attention to these newer phones. Yeah, but it has the same dope camera as the flagship or the Cadillac, so to speak. But you could get a Pixel 4. You could get a Pixel 4 used for the price that you would pay for a Pixel 4a. So for me, it's better for me to go the used route. I'm going to try and root the phone anyway. Turns out these phones can't be rooted. Rooting is a process that you can do to a phone that gives you more control of the phone and stuff like that. And Google used to be like the king of the whole rooting thing. And now they pretty much kicked us to the side with this Google Pixel line. But I digress. Amazon. No, I'm a Mint Mobile cheapo guy. I rock with Mint Mobile. My wife has Mint Mobile now. Mint Mobile holds us down, especially since we're Google Voice users, and our Google Voice allows us to have like a static number that can port forward to any number we want. So we kind of go through the Mint Mobile situation where we're getting new lines every 3 months for the cheap introductory price. So yeah, I rock with Mint Mobile. I'm actually getting away. I don't use Mint Mobile now. I use Visible. Visible's $25 for unlimited. Hey, baby. What's happening? My wife said she went to the doctor's office and they were kind of like one of the assistants or whatever. She's laying down. Was like, oh, she really like her husband. Now you gotta sit down and roll over. You can't be out here in these streets adorned the way that you are.
Everybody see me. Hey, everybody.
I want to keep it that way. Keep it that way. Keep it that way.
Evening.
Good evening. This is Leroy, Tyrone, Yomashima. Don't start getting weird. He's not happy. He's jumping around and whining.
That's. I didn't hear whining.
Yeah, you was tuned into the people.
It's been a long time.
It has been a while. What's up, sleeper?
I'm actually thinking about coming through. What it was like Mother's Day. It's like, okay, yeah, we can't do that Sunday, and But I be thinking about y'all. I want to hang out. Hey, MJ. Hey, is that Siobhan? Hey, Siobhan.
Yeah.
Dominique, Kimberjack. Oh, your kids, man. 4 of them, 6 and under.
What's up, Repo? What's happening?
Oh, man.
Oh, my kids are grown.
Yeah. Be bragging, forget you.
So how do you like Mint Mobile? Mint Mobile is just T-Mobile. You know what I mean? It's a MVNO, which stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. They basically buy or lease space from T-Mobile.
I love Mint.
Yeah, Mint's fine. Mint's popping. Keep it a buck.
I be feeling like, man, people are idiots now because of how much money, you have to spend with just regular service providers.
Yeah, Mint's cracking.
I guess that may be kind of harsh, but especially if, I don't know how many.
I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. This is the dynamic, right? I always tell people, I'm open but not forward. My wife is forward and open, so you could catch it from her. What's up, Corey K? Lee paid you a compliment. Thanks, Lee.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Lee.
That
was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
I'm blushing. Like, all right.
He's doing weirdo
Don't
stuff.
start getting loud about it. Just wait until it stops hurting.
Oh my gosh.
You hit your head.
Give us 1 second. Remo, what's happening? By the way, I'm the guy that was asking you about the old school Rock Pals 300 and the solar connection to it. I had let my. Oh, okay, cool. Did you change your name again? I feel like I remember it from another name. What's up, Beats? I like that. Tell it like it is. Yeah, whatever. When my son was little and he hit his head on the wall, I say, "Is the wall okay?" That's greasy, MJ. That is greasy.
Oh, that's MJ.
Yeah. That is greasy.
You know, I'm big on like I love watching, funniest home videos, army fails and pranks and stuff like that on YouTube. Like I can like just binge watch that for, day like every day I feel like I gotta get some in. So laughing at falls and stuff like that is just kind of like in me. Especially if it's not a big deal. And these boys, I mean, we do have a highly sensitive kid, and I do think that he feels what is more than typical, or average. And then we have like the younger one who kind of like copying, but just like y'all, just chill out, laugh at yourself, because I be holding it in sometimes.
Saya.
Yeah, I'll give them a sucker. I'll help him.
Help him something. Yeah. You gotta roll out of frame, Mrs. All right. Who? Me? No. I don't like anything. I'm love. I returned it. I don't have it anymore. I have a couple videos from it. Actually, what I'm gonna do is when this video is over, I'm gonna put a link to an unlisted video that I'll publish eventually once I tweak the thumbnail a little bit. The thumbnail is gonna be like straight thug, but I have a video of the AC200P that I'm gonna put out that challenges the refurbished nature, which is back to something I wanted to talk about. There were a couple comments of people being like, "I don't understand why you sent it back. What was the problem?" It was really cheap. You got it or something, and what's the issue? I was like, well, every time I see those comments, I'm like, well, in my mind, if I could quote one of my older quotes, my pockets ain't your pockets. I value my coins to the point where that wasn't acceptable to me. And I know that wasn't acceptable to a lot of you guys, but some people are like, oh, well, it's fine. But this video I need to put out that I'll put out after this video is over. I won't put it out. I'll put a link of it in this video description. So you guys who are interested could check it out. And then it will be published sometime later in like a week or so. to the viewers, the viewing public. Let's see. Let's see. It's like y'all say no blood, then you good. But do you allow them to cry, or do you like hush them up? I'm curious about y'all answers on that. You should check out the Galaxy S20 Fan Edition, 5G sound, dual speakers, fast, and more. Okay, let's have a quick deviation on this Samsung stuff. I used to be a fan of Samsung. I'm still kind of okay with them, but me being a guy who likes to root my phones, rooting Samsung phones are a pain. And I kind of vowed that I would never buy a Samsung phone again. They're annoyingly secure and annoyingly whatever, and they have some of this stuff on there that's just it's just a whole thing. I'm It's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. I also listen. I don't spend all this money on these phones that y'all be doing. Y'all got this paper. I ain't got it like that. My value system ain't set up like that. No knock on yours, but I'm not. $200, $150 for like year before last flagship. That's my sweet spot. I'll get a Pixel 4. I'm not gonna get one, but just to put it in perspective, I'll get a Pixel 4. Like I said, that dip is like 150 in good condition, 200 mint. And it's like, let's be honest, I don't need a phone in mint condition. Like, it's like once you use a phone, it's like the car situation. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's used. You know what I mean? It's like, why do I need it to be new or mint just for me to be able to use it? All I'm going to do is use it just like any other phone. The only concern is maybe the battery, but you know, it is what it is. You ask the people, can they run the Accu battery dip? If they do, cool. If they don't, you're taking a risk. But listen, at $150, I think the Pixel 3 that I got for Dell, I got it for like a little over $100. I was like, man, at $100 for a new phone, if you drop that phone, I could kind of come to terms with that. I mean, I wouldn't want you to. And she was like, nah, I ain't dropping no phone. I'm like, I get it. But $100 for, I mean, a dope phone? It's like, that's nothing. Let's see. The refurbished experience sounds like a Newegg open box policy. If you've been following the whole Newegg issues lately from Gamers Nexus, I haven't. I haven't been buying that. I haven't been following that. I'm so out of the loop. Oh, okay. Unlocked, got a great price. Okay, I got my phone like Swapper. Yeah, we was talking about Swapper earlier, Mr. Repo. I rock with Swapper. I use Swapper as a barometer for how much I should spend in the marketplace. So if it's going if it's going on Swapper for like 200, I feel like you should give it to me for like $130. Because it's local, it's instant. You ain't got to worry about shipping. So I'll look at Swapper, and if Swapper has something interesting, then I'll go to the marketplace or Craigslist and see what I could come by that's a little bit cheaper than Swapper. It's like you can't ask for Swapper money in the marketplace. Nah, they don't work like that. I can deal. What's up, Dan? I can deal with a few problems if the price is right. Less than 250, anything over that problem should have been resolved before selling. What are you talking about? The phones, or are you talking about power stations, or is that just in general? Whatever it is. Okay, we talked about that. We talked about those. Get out of here. We talked about that. None of y'all answer me like some bums, but it's okay. If y'all want to talk, it's okay. I get it. Oh snap. Okay, cool. Let me deal with that for a second. Um, I want to talk to y'all about this device I got. Oh man, it's way back here. Give me a second. I hope I'm prepared to talk about this device I got. I don't think that I am, but we're gonna do it anyway. This segment is sponsored. I have forgot to check the box, but this is the Evatronic PowerBank. They reached out to me for what was it? A wall charger. It's like I like wall chargers. I'm kind of getting back into them because of power stations and stuff like that. But I wanted to try out this power bank, and I talked to them about it, and they were like, "Yeah, what can you?" They had all these arbitrary things like, "Can you talk about it for 3 minutes?" I was like, "I don't know if it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to talk about it." So I was like, "Well, we'll just send you the power bank," because they were going to send me the power bank and the USB wall charger thing. But anyway, the thing that intrigued me about this is the fact that it has this screen that tells you, uh, it tells you the percentage charge that it is. Now, I know Joe Trot has been interested in one of these that charges really fast. Unfortunately, this ain't it. This charges at a good speed. It charges at about 20 watts, which is cool. I was hoping that it would charge a little faster. There is a link in the description for this. Um, the thing that's interesting about this one is it's a little bit chunkier than I'm used to. So it's the same capacity to 20,000 milliamp hours, 20,000 milliamp hours. This is from Anchor. I talked about these before. I told y'all I like these because I like being able to use them to run my lights. You may want to like just give me a moment because this is not something you're gonna want to sit here for. No. You no, just trust me. I use them for these little lights. Now, you may remember that this Anchor one doesn't work. So we're going to do a live test on this one to see if this will work with it. I'm going to hit the button on the side. We got our 69 up and nothing happened. Look at that. It don't look on to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the button and then I'm going to plug it in. Okay, there it goes. Look at that light. Shine, shine, boy. So that's cool. It turned on. That's pretty sweet. Another thing that I like about this device and looking at it just firsthand is the fact that it has 3 ports. This is really interesting. It has its own charge port. That's really clutch. I'll tell you why that's really clutch. When I try to charge this Anchor from my Jackery or anything that's bi-directional, mainly the Jackery is what I've tried. I can't use the Rock Pals because the Rock Pals is weird. I won't get into that. Because this one has one port, sometimes there's confusion about the direction that it wants to go. With something like this, because it has a charge port on the side, you won't have that problem. You plug it into your power station, you can power dump into it. Now, it's not a lot of power, but it is significant. Let's put this in perspective, which I thought was interesting. This thing has 74 watt hours of battery capacity on paper, which have most 20 milliamp hours are about 74, 72, 75 watt hours. You think about my first power station, which was the Bowden's. That thing is only 166. Can you imagine that? But it makes sense because there's all that space in the device for the inverter, the MPPT charge controller, the USB circuitry, the fans and all that jazz. Like this has none of that. So literally this right here is pretty much what you see as the battery capacity in like a Bowden's, because this is 140 some odd watt hours. That one's 166. These typically use 18650 batteries. Because this one is a little chunkier, I'm gonna guess that this one is using like 2100, 21600, 21700. With these batteries, the first number, yeah, they sent it to me. It was like, can you have it be the video be 10 minutes? Can you make a video with the title in the not 10 minutes, 3 minutes? Can you make a video with the title in the name? I was like, no, I have a solar channel, but this could be of interest to my audience. So I mentioned it on a live if you're okay with that. And they were like, okay, we'll let that happen, but we're not gonna send you both items. They're like testing me out.
Is this the first time you're mentioning it?
This one.
Okay.
Yes.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It has a nice. Go ahead.
Doesn't look better than I like that Anchor right there.
Yeah, the Anchor slick.
This feels good though.
Anchor slick.
Yeah, it's heavy. Is that a good thing?
I don't care about heavy. I don't get
like,
it.
To me, I think like when I feel something heavy, it just makes me think quality.
That's what a lot of weird people think. A lot of weirdos think that heavy means quality. I guess I don't.
I mean,
I don't
it's not
care.
like light and like cheap. You know what I mean?
Oh, one thing I did want to show you guys. So this does come with a USB-C to USB-C cable. I put it somewhere. Oh, it's actually in this power station. No, it's not in this power station. Dude, where's the cable at? Blam with them blammers. It was over there. Did I? This is this it? Let me see. This might be it. It charges at 20 watts. I plugged it into the Go Labs. Oh snap. Oh no, guys, I take that back.
What?
Oh, that's a bummer. This is micro USB.
Oh.
That's whack. I don't like micro USB. I didn't think this was micro USB. I thought it charged via USB-C. Let me
Is
see.
there USB-C in the middle?
Yeah. But I was thinking that it was a let me try it real quick. Y'all bear with me. I'm using the Go Labs i200, which is a slick little device. I have to make a video on this. This one might be the new budget champion because it goes for like, it's been having coupons like crazy on it. I'll just say that. Amazon don't be liking when we mention prices. Now I can't tell what's going on here. Ah, this is slick. This is slick. It looks like, guys, that this thing is charging from the USB port, and it also has micro USB. That's pretty sweet. I like kind of stuff like that because it gives you options. So you can see that it's charging. I can't change the focus while holding both of these things, but it says 69 and it's charging from USB-C at 20 watts. Can you see the 20 watts? It'll probably be backwards. Anyway, y'all believe me. Y'all trust me, don't you? That's pretty slick. I was not expecting micro USB on the side, but again, stuff like that with options, I'm glad that it can charge via USB-C. So this is pretty cool. That micro USB on the side is kind of whack, but 20 milliamp hours. Yeah, it does give options. That has been the Evatronic PowerBank. Boom. Pitch complete. Oh, link in the comments. That's how they be. Link in the comments, guys, if you want to. Oh, man. US Mobile has been money for me going for 5 months now. 3 lines, unlimited, $75. Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
$75? What?
3 lines, so $25 a line.
That's not bad at all. See?
Yeah. I refuse to pay that long though for a cell. Too many options to work with. Hey, I ain't mad at that. I'm glad y'all hip because man, people be out here spending $60, $70 on cell phones. I'm just like, y'all got it. Would you call them babe? ID 10T. She out here. She don't care. She a thug. Let me see. Okay. Power stations. Okay, Dan, you're talking about power stations. I gotcha. Oh, the coupon on it is pretty good. I think it drops it down to about $20. So it's $29 with like 30% off coupon. So that's legit, man. I think. What do I know? I'm just an IT techie guy who's in the power stations and consumes a lot of information. I like mine. It has a nice camera, video, but the battery drains quickly. What kind of phone do you have, Dominique? That's good for long cycle rides to charge my cell phone. Yeah, no doubt. I even like the little 10,000 milliamp hour ones just for something. I'm big on options, guys. Y'all have no idea. I bought this right here, which is a through night 18650 battery charger, and it doubles as a power bank. So y'all know I got the Anchor flashlight. And I charge the batteries with these two things. I don't think this one is as fast, but way back when phones only charged at 5 watts, something like this was golden. I throw this in my bag. This was before we had a car. We haven't always had a vehicle. We used to be busting it out here in these streets. When I tell y'all, you know what I mean? We was out here, you know what I mean? And this is another 18650 charger that also doubles as a power bank. So I like options. So a 10,000 milliamp hours, a little lighter, a little smaller. I actually have one right here. So that's my old school throwback Anchor micro USB, whatever. Oh, this also has 2 fast charge ports. My power banks are so much older that I shouldn't say that. The Anchors are pretty good. I like that it has 2 USB ports on it. That gives you a lot of flexibility with cell phones. We have 3 cell phones here just for the kiddos. So yeah, y'all know I got phones galore. But anyway, I like these smaller ones because they give you options. And then, I talked about this. That's a different option. I would typically, I guess, use something like this with an iPhone or something like that because, they don't have the older ones that I have. I have a 7 and an 8. They don't have big batteries. So let's talk about that really quickly, just this whole amp hours. Now, listen, I don't know for sure, but they come up with the amp hours in a weird way because it's at 3 volts and not 12 volts. So that stuff is confusing to me and I don't care to wrap my mind around it. But if the batteries in these phones are much larger now, but something like an iPhone 7, which is what this is, it probably has like a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So that's how they tell you can charge that phone like 6 times or 8 times. How many times can 3,500 go into 200,000, 20,000? And that's how you get the thing. And then there's some loss there. So you don't get all of those charges. Just keep that in mind. So that's been your power bank segment for the day. Let me see what y'all talking about. You can stop it. I think the same way. Oh man, I missed it. Anchor are 2, but man, I have one that lasted 2 years. Many of the other new ones died in that span, and the Anchor keeps going. Yeah, Anchor's out here, man, for sure. I love Anchor products. Those 2 little power stations they have, like, I was into their older power stations, but only because they were one of the few people who did it. Them and like Goal Zero were like really the only ones. The Anchor Powerhouse came out, and it was a really like tech forward one that was taken into consideration a lot of things, but it didn't have, the price was like crazy, so I couldn't get with it. Oh, I thought I heard a phone ringing.
Hi, darling.
Hey, Darlene, I missed that. Thanks, babe. My battery charger charges with both as well. I was geeked to see that. Yeah, it's those little things that make these devices like really interesting. Paycheck. Okay, the Galaxy S20, your battery drains fast. Wow. You should install AccuBattery on there and let it tell you what the battery health is. Samsung, knowing them because they be doing too much, they probably have something in the phone that'll tell you about the health of the battery. Samsung is off the chain, man. They get on my nerves. For a tiny station, you need to get your hands on one of these. It's LiPo, the Nessus Pow portable power station, 100 watt. Blah 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 blah. Interesting. Oh, let's check that out in a second. I almost ordered one last week. Don't know what I'd do with it though, but it seems pretty cool. I need a small phone charger to keep in my purse. Yeah, I don't see the Anchor link. Did I say I was gonna post an Anchor link?
Well, you still can.
I have a link to this one. I don't have a link to the Anchor. That Anchor one is, I don't know if you want that one. It's nice looking, but it's quirky. It is. Like the guy, they know this, but watch. It's on, and then when I plug this thing in, nothing happens. Anchor's quirky, and it also, this particular one does not. It only fast charges at 17 watts, or it slow charges at 1 watt. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? You have to have the exact like volt and amp combination. Your power brick has to produce that to charge this. I don't like that about this. I get around it because I got power stations and I got like these little things like this, but you can't just use like your cell phone's charger that'll produce like 15 watts or 10 watts to charge this. It has to see that specific voltage or it's going to charge at 1 watt. I was sitting around here trying to figure out why is this thing taking so long to charge? So I hooked up my what did I do? I don't know how I figured it out because I don't have a USB-C meter. There are USB-C and USB watt meters. I have a USB-A watt meter. Um, y'all saw it if you saw the fan short that I did on this little 5-volt fan right here. I had a USB volt and amp meter on that one. I was using this one yesterday, man. Not yesterday, a couple of days ago. It was really hot. I had the what is this? Oh, it's not heavy. I just need to reach. I had the O2 Cool or the Treva fan going. This thing is loud. That's the one thing I don't like about it. It's really loud. I wish it was a little quieter. But I had this one blowing on the missus in the kitchen, and I had this one blowing on me because I don't need much, and she bougie. She didn't even hear me. What's something up there? Now I also have this one. This one is 1300. It's made for the Nintendo Switch. I don't have a Nintendo Switch, but it's 1300 milliamp hours. So it's cool. It charges decently, but the Anchor one is weird. That particular one is weird. I also, guys, I have y'all watch this. Let's see if I could find it. This is how into this stuff I am. I have power notes. That's power banks. Let me show y'all something. Let's share my screens. Share screen. Okay. Share window. Simple Note Opera. Let's share that. Add to screens. Let's get my face out of the way. Can y'all see this clearly? This is how hard in the paint I go with, like, I take notes because remember I said that, dang, where's my joint at? Remember I said that this is weird? This right here is the way you can kind of notice it. So because this is weird, I actually send it back up there. Put it back up there. I actually take these notes on things, or I used to. I don't do it anymore because things have gotten a little bit better. So I'll write down, and this is actually, that's the Switch Edition, Power Core Essentials. This is what this is. So you can see it's 20,000 milliamp hours, 72 watt hours, just like I said the other one was. The PD input is 5 volts at 3 amps, 9 volts at 2 amps, 15 volts at 1.2 amps. I think that's that weird when you have to have this one be able to charge. Can y'all see that? I know that has to be kind of small, but you can see I have multiple of these things. Let's see here. I also have something else around here. Power adapter. No. Here we go. Power adapters. I take notes on this stuff too. Because back in the gap, this was important to me. I needed to know, and I still do. Like some some things you get, the first USB-C does better than the bottom, but now they're getting a little bit better where what they do is they'll have both of them be as nice as the other one. So if you have two ports, this one, if plugged in by itself, will give you 90 watts. This one, if plugged in by itself, will give you 90 watts. If you plug them both in, then this one might give you 60 and 30. If you plug everything in, then it'll be like 45, 45, and 10 or something weird like that. So it kind of, so I need to know that because what I'll do is that thing will come to mind. And then I have to go to these websites and try to look at the specs and all that. So when I get a device, I write it down. That way I can always go to my notes to have that. All right, let's see what Remo was talking about. Let's pull up some Amazizzle. NEC. Dude, I can't even copy and paste that. That's weird. Y'all got quiet on me. What y'all doing? NECES portable power station. Oh, mama. Yeah, she need to be asleep. Oh, look at this one. Cool Fly. That's interesting. Let me show you all that.
For 179.
No. Oh, okay, this is what he's talking about. Oh, you know what? This is like the that style. Let me see if I can give y'all this. I know. She just want to play with my stuff.
That got cool stuff there.
Hey, you feel better? So much better? Let's see here. I'm going to just share this screen.
Did you tell him to stop, Ivan? When he says stop, stop.
Wait, what's going on? Okay, I got to add it. And then I'll do that.
All right.
Is this enough. It, man?
That's enough.
I guess I could look at it. Nope, that ain't it.
Enough, or you gonna go upstairs.
But this little thing right here is cool. There's a okay, yeah. I'm sorry. My brain reverted. Stop.
Go upstairs.
This reminds me of the Bowden's one. It just looks like a shorter one. Do y'all remember that one? Bowden's had one that they were going to come out with that was kind of like this, but it was a little bit longer. It was LIFO. I wonder if I could find that. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not moved by 150 watts for $140. Yeah, it's a $15 off. I mean, maybe that would be moving for somebody, but it ain't moving for me. All right, let's remove this. Oh no, not it. It's a tiny one. Interesting. How do you calculate the volts on the battery? We just happen to know who else that? Kimber Jack. We just happen to know that these 18650 cells, these AA cells, AAA cells, they typically, because they're lithium ion or whatever reason they are, they're 3 something volts. The only reason why, don't quote me on this, it's my understanding, the only reason why we have like 12 volt power stations is because you have to put batteries in parallel. So most of these power stations, if they don't have like pouch cells or the square cells, they usually have cylindrical cells, which are circle. So you put 3 18650s in some type of combination, and then that voltage, I guess if you put it in parallel, it adds the amps. If you put it in series, it adds the volts. So you probably have that in series, and 3 of those batteries gives you 12 volts. And then you keep doing that in some weird layout like 3S2P or whatever it comes out to be, right? And that's how you get there. But we typically know that these batteries are like 3.4 volts, 3.2 volts, whatever. That's my understanding. It's $90 with a $20 coupon. Okay, let me keep looking. I mean, it's by that brand, so I'm trying to get away from the 300 watt hour dips, which is interesting because I still like them. You know what I mean? I'm debating on, because I have 2 GoLabs R300s now, and the GoLabs R300 screen is fancier than the GoLabs i200. But this one's coming in like $140 for 256 watt hours. I'll be doing a video on this one soon. But I like the screen on the GoLabs R300 a little better. It's pretty much a similar screen to the Energizer. So I've been thinking about like what I want. I also don't like it's not that I don't like it. The power button is here. There's no like USB button. The USB ports are just on. They're kind of like sensing. I'm pointing to the wrong thing. These right here. Um, but I'm used to the R300 having the power button up here in the corner. So it's like, well, do I keep this one and be confused by it, or give it away and just do the two R300s? But I like this form factor, man. Having a small LiFo power station. I think this is the Energizer's kind of small in LiFo. The Sev comes in small in LiFo. But I still like it. But at some point I'm gonna have to decide whether I'm gonna give it away or keep it. Yeah, I would have made him clean up too, but the baby was up there searching garden and outdoor. Interesting. Okay. I never even did that. I've never done particulars like that. It's only 2 pages of results, so it's probably on the second page. Paxis reached out to me to try to send me a power station, but they never got back to me. I see the Swarry. I'm gonna have to look for it later. So I can keep doing this, but I'm not. Let's see. I also have a list, guys, of my power usage that I used to do back in the day. I haven't updated this in a while. This is a real whiny day for these kids. My gosh. You can see my Raspberry Pi is using 2.5 watts. And I also put the volts and the amps in there because I like to know that. My TV, 50 watts to 80 watts full brightness. So I'm really into like documenting this stuff because I'm always curious about it. Now, this was also when I didn't have a power station that told me how much power stuff was using, right? So I made all these little notes about what these things use, and that's in the web app called Simple Note. And there's also an application for iPhone and Android. And it syncs across all of the different instances of it. So it's simple. You know what I mean? I love it. Let's see here. I mentioned the GoLabs R300. They gave me the black and orange. They sent me that one because the GoLabs R500 died on me. They was like, well, we'll send you a GoLabs R300. I was like, cool, I'll take it. Eventually, it's going to be given away at some point. Whether it's local or to one of you guys. Okay. We talked about that. I might actually keep those notes around. The male-to-male cable conversation. I thought Setite would be around. He's probably around, but just not on the live. Yeah, I'm gonna dance around that one. I finished with the pictures, video, and my email updating you. I'm waiting for the video to finish processing. I'll shoot you the email with the link. Appreciate it. Click on the link to view the big nest file, and then you can choose the small one. Oh, I actually thought about the fact that I did find that one, so I could search by brand. But sometimes these brands don't have enough clout with Amazon that they still don't just show their stuff. They'll just show anything related to it. Let me see. Uh-huh. Like, we need that notoriety. Good catch, Dominique. Oh, interesting. This looks like the power bin, kinda. I don't want, power bin is next level. Let me show y'all. Let's see. You yawning? What you yawning for?
Yeah, man. Like the kids just suck the life out of me.
Buddy, it'd be like that. Interesting. So it's 45 watts. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that right there. That's interesting to see that like dot matrixy style of display. Y'all, yeah, I'm hypercritical You have to get it through. You have to get through my critiques to get my appreciation. I critique first products. I imagine that this one would be a little more interesting. No. What did I click on? Clicking on something else. Dude, it is confusing when they have all these entries. Yeah, this is just like the Bowden's power station that never came out. They were having so many issues with it. Hobotech has one or had one. I don't know what he did with it, but he could never put the video out because they kept having issues with it. All right. Thanks again, Dominique. That was a good catch. Let's see here. Okay. So, guys, girls, pimps,
Ladies.
hustlers, ballers. Um,
I'm like fan females.
what's wrong with anyway? I'm not getting into it with you. It's not gonna do it.
He's like, you open the door. Nope.
Close that thing. Close it. Close it. So my solar system is maturing, right? That's something that I wanted to talk about. I have the Alcatel P2001. And basically, I think it's like growing up, right? It's in some ways, Darlene is laughing. In some ways, it's like, and I talked about this before, this idea that at some point, solar is not, it's not going to be sexy anymore. You know what I mean? It's just going to be like, it's getting the job done. We're good to go. Some almost like you set it and forget it. I don't ever plan on being that particular way as it relates to devices and talking about them and enjoying, moving around and shaking and charging them and making sure and using them and stuff like that. Cause I feel like that's part of my appeal. The fact that I like using this stuff, I plan to continue doing that. The devices will just get a little bigger, right? But the Alcatel 2000 watt hour capacity on paper, maybe about 16 in real life. Jason Noy did a review on it if you're curious about that. It pretty much powers my mini fridge. That's literally all it does. And it's like that thing pulls, I would say about 1,000 watts. Let's say it pulls 100 watts an hour as it, all things considered, because sometimes it's pulling 0, sometimes it spikes to 5, sometimes it sits at 77. So on an average, I would say if I left it running for 12 hours, I'd be down like 1,000 watts or so. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. So sometimes I want to have, and that was this idea I talked about before, sometimes you want to have the fun stuff plugged in, like you want to have your internet, which will always be on a power station as long as I can control it. What I mean is like, I don't ever, even if I had a transfer switch and that particular circuit was on a power station, I will always want my internet to stay on a power station and independent battery source, because when you switch the transfer switch, everything loses power for that second. See, that's my understanding of it. It has to work that way, right? Well, you clean up slow too. I bet.
No, I'm not talking about that. I think I did enough.
Okay, they're coming down too.
So my EB120 is running my deep freezer, which is fine. It uses about 100 and some odd watts. I don't know how much it uses cumulatively, but it's like this idea of like wanting to have the fun stuff on solar, but as long as it's like if I turned on a light here, right? And it was like a situation where I wanted the lamp to be the light instead, I always have to remind myself that downstairs you have power stations running and using 100 watts an hour. So it doesn't really matter where the power comes from. As long as stuff is getting power, I'm winning. You know what I mean? So it's a little more complex than that. There's a lot more moving pieces because as my systems mature, I'll get to the point where you start to have panels that are nicely matched with power stations so that a power station can take in the power that that panel produces in a day. I don't have to worry about power dumping. It's going to be a sad, but again, a mature time when I don't have to worry about power dumping. I could just put a panel on a power station and know that it's going to get the power. And I don't have to worry about it getting full and then needing to put it into another one. So it's very interesting to see that happening. Really? You moving over? You in the zone? No, that's the last time we're going to do that. What's up, Mr. Allen? What's happening? Hey, Jessica Rabbit. It's been a while. Just dropping. Take care. See you later. I appreciate that greatly. Later, sleeper. In my state, all electric work must be inspected, either by a city inspector or in rural areas by a state inspector. An insurance company may or may not pay for a claim if no inspection was done. Yeah, I need to reach out to our Caucasian brother and ask him what his take is on that, because I'm curious about that.
Insurance?
Let's see. But I'm good with that and all the power stations I have. My C connections. Okay, all right. So right now what's happening is tomorrow I have another power station coming, and it's a pretty sizable one. So right now I'll have, what's he doing to him?
Stretching them out.
How is he doing that? Oh, just pulling on him? Oh wow. Okay. So what I'll have is two big power stations. Then I have the EV120 and I have the Bull Bat. Those are my mainstays kind of that'll be downstairs. And I have this situation where I have to figure out where these power stations are going to go and how they would best be served and so on and so forth. I was talking with Wayne about this idea of my EV120 kind of floating around, maybe going behind my TV. The only thing I don't like about the EV120 is the only way it can be charged is from AC. So, which gets us back to the other video. Confession. That video was supposed to be for Patreon, but because the thumbnail was nice and I felt like the content was really cohesive, I put it out to everybody. But it was like a super casual video that I typically like to share with the Patreon viewers, because that's a video that may not necessarily be super interesting or track in the YouTube world, and it will probably end up not being one of my most viewed videos, which is fine. But that's why I typically don't want to put it on YouTube. I'm using the words as best I can, but it's a strategic thing. I imagine that Jason Noy knows what I'm talking about. Babe, can I have some water? Or that ginger ale or something? Yeah, that's a good point. Do we have, I don't have any juice, do we?
Not cold.
Okay, I'll take some water. Thank you. So with my system kind of maturing, I'm starting to think about panels in a different light. You guys know, if you're here, week in and week out, that I started to talk about this idea of how much cumulative power you can get from a panel, and starting to think about that intentionally. Like a 100-watt panel, they say will give you 500 watt hours throughout the course of the day. You double that for 200, you 2.5 it for the Renogy or whatever. I don't want this. You can have it. So you start to think about this idea of okay, I was entertaining this idea of I have the 320 watt panel from Renogy, right? And then I have a 200 watt panel going into the EV120 now, because the Beastie one is on the Alcatel. So then I have this other power station that's coming that's going to be big. It has a significantly limited voltage range, in my opinion. So I have to balance, what am I going to do here? Can I put a panel in series with this 50 watt? And I think I kind of can. So I'm starting to figure this stuff out. But this is what I wanted to share with you guys. I was thinking about, because you remember, I have a video. Some of you remember that I have a video and I said series sucks or something like that. within the context of my situation, because shading impacts my panels, and I don't like to leave my panels in one spot throughout the whole day, basically facing south, because in my mind I felt like I could get more power. Thank you. I felt like I could get more power being able to move the panel throughout the day. So sometimes I don't like doing the math and I just go off of my instinct. I shouldn't say I go off my instinct. I just go off of like simplicity. But I was thinking about it, and actually what I'm looking at is if I put two panels in series, let's just use the EB120 for example. One panel typically gets me, let's just say 150 watts from a 190 watt panel. You put them in series, you're getting like 300 watts. That's a good look for the EB120. It's not the best look, and you'll get what I'm saying in a second. So I took it out of series because I was dealing with shade, and I wanted to be able to move the panels around to basically maximize. I'm all about maximizing. So I took it off. I had one panel, 150 watts. Let's just say realistically, I have sun from say 8 to 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about 10 hours of sun. It's not banging sun at all the angles, but that's 10 hours of sun. Let's just say it gets 150 watts for 10 hours. That's 1.5. That 300 and no. That one panel gets that much power. But if I take the panels and put them in series and only get 5 hours of sun a day, I get more power with them producing 300 watts for, I think it was like, I get more power in less time. Y'all don't make me math on the fly. I get more power using it in series than I did chasing the sun, basically. And I thought that was really interesting, which has me in a position where I really want to be able to get my other panel fixed, because I may just put those panels in series and lean them south facing and just rock out. I don't know why that dude is on one, man.
Why you squeezing me out? Move over.
You keep floating. I'm not gonna sit here in this side of the frame and you over here making biscuits and glitter and stuff. You in the background, fam.
I want to read the comments. They're like small. You usually have them bigger. When I woke up.
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, but I'm used to seeing myself on StreamYard. I used to do that in YouTube. What's up, Felix? It's been a while. Just giving you the thumbs up. Glad to see you all kicking it here. So, yeah, I'm out here in these streets, man. I look at the sun different now. My power stations are full, and I think, look at all that electricity going to waste. That's
how I be thinking. Like,
yeah.
Stop.
That like, water is good. Frosted glass, yeah, it's fire. It's fire.
It's funny because now I kind of look at the sun a little differently because of his excitement. You know what I mean? When it's like a sunny day. I mean, I've already loved like natural light and stuff like that, but man, solar power just changed our lives, literally.
Interesting. So you said, James, that's how you run your solar panels. What do you mean? In series, just facing south? I imagine so, since you say you got so many of them. I told you he was being interesting. I call my kids Credges sometimes, and if you deal with what Credge is spelled backwards, you know what I'm calling them. Oh, you haven't worked this out in your mind yet?
I had no idea what Credge means.
Oh, you out of the loop.
What is Credge?
I tell them, like, don't be a Credge, man. Jeez.
I just flat out say, stop being a jerk.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like they have to understand, like, you can't be that way. That's not cool, man. It's like I understand why Saya is born third.
What you mean?
He couldn't be no big brother, like to the rest of his siblings, to more than one sibling. You know.
That's true. I could see that.
Or maybe he's that way because he's third born. I don't know. But.
So man, it's all very interesting. You know, thinking about this 320 watt panel, and I don't regret not necessarily getting a second one, but I am curious about getting a second one because just as my solar system matures, I like this idea. I still like the idea of one panel, one power station. Actually, y'all, I don't know if y'all saw on Instagram. I put a video up of me talking with my wife about the front yard and the cable and all that jazz. And I actually would like a bigger panel out there. I don't need a bigger panel out there right now because all I have up there is I have up there in that zone is the EcoFlow. So the EcoFlow can't take a 24-volt panel. And 200 watts is about the max you get with a 12 volt unless you start messing with that Dokio. I think the Dokio is one of the only ones that's 12 volt. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going off of old information. Like Bluetti and EcoFlow have these stupid big panels that I think are 12 volt panels. I don't know what voltage they are actually. So I'm making stuff up all around. But I would actually like to have a slightly bigger panel in my front yard as well. But it's like I don't really need it. See what I'm saying? Like, why am I going to allow space for you and you over here
I'm
just?
about to leave. I gotta.
What time is it?
7:40, 7:50.
Oh wow!
I gotta get up and prepare.
What you gonna make?
Chicken. Chicken tenders.
Oh, okay, true.
I now need another air fryer. I need to, or I was thinking about getting a Ninja, whatever it is.
Whatever.
Kind of like
I wanted. Are they good? I don't know.
Everything. Well, I only have one thing, but Ninja period is good. Their products.
I guess I feel like they be taxing.
Yeah, I mean they're not cheap, but
What? So with this idea of the 320, right? When it was on the EB 120, it was too much power for it. I always had the power dump from that dip. So it's like, again, as my solar system changes, I have to come to terms with the fact that we don't use that much power. So the transfer switch is going to be really important. And then likely what I'll have is I have a situation where, you know, the transfer switch will be kind of like lined up with power stations behind it. You know what I mean? Like one will be feeding the other to maintain the power throughout the day. And then maybe I have these power stations kind of floating around just powering stuff for the sake of powering stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that. If I sure enough, legit, actually, it'll probably be kind of where it's malleable or it's fluid is a better word. Where I may still have a lamp being powered by an extra portable power station because instead of having it all on the transfer switch. And then also, you know, the transfer switches are limited. You can only take so many circuits. So it's going to be a very strategic thing to try and figure out which circuits I'm going to have on the transfer switch and which circuits I won't. And then those small, which I'm kind of happy about because then those smaller power stations will probably still have a way to be used on lamps and fans and as lights and like the light themselves coming from the power station, TVs and stuff like that will actually be pretty interesting. And I'll also still have my different zones. I don't think that's going to change much. So maybe what ends up happening is I may make sure that I include circuits for upstairs because upstairs is not a good solar zone for me because the balcony is kind of like Dell's place of peace. That's what she wants to turn it into. And having the solar panel out there wouldn't be ideal. It could work, but it wouldn't be ideal. Moderately laced. What's happening? What's cool? Yeah, smaller appliances. The air fryers keep evolving. I don't think anyone is the best. It's about which one fits your needs. Yeah, the thing we need most is size and just for it to do its job well. We don't have a whole lot of appliances. You know what I mean? It's just like we don't do a whole lot. And I'm sure we could like it's gonna be fun thinking about it. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. Just figuring out, oh babe, can you get this TV? This TV looks like it's about to fall.
what?
About to fall. No, thank you. I don't want it, mama. I don't want it.
I'll take it.
Also having the not so, it's going to be this balance of not having big draws on the transfer switch, right? Because then your power station is kaput. So you don't want to have the microwave on that circuit because that dip is on wild out. And that's really, I think that's really one of the only things that uses a high draw. The dishwasher is interesting. I have no way to know how much a dishwasher uses, but that would be peculiar too. It can't use that much. Maybe it uses like 1,000 watts. Anybody know how much power a dishwasher uses? What's up, buddy? How you feeling? He said, I'm feeling happy. I think that's the only emotion he can identify verbally. So I have 2 power stations in my basement. Right now, what I'm dealing with is the Alcatel and the EV120. When this power station comes tomorrow, at some point, once I'm finished, messing around with it, it'll be 2 big power stations, and then the EV120 will go somewhere else and replace something. I don't know what it will be, which will mean the bullback can go somewhere and replace something. I'm editing a video that'll probably come out on Thursday if I'm ready for it to come out on Thursday. I kind of want to start trying to do more videos per week. I think that's going to grow the channel faster. And that video is about like, it's really a Patreon-esque video, but I think it should be cool. It's a little long-winded. I'm not a fan of that. But it's basically a look at what I had going on that day. I call it a behind the scenes, where I just talk about everything that's happening in the particular solar situation. For example, I had an issue that I had to reach out to Jackery for, and I'll talk about that in the video. So it's a bunch of stuff. I talk about a bunch of stuff. That video right now is 30 minutes, and I feel terrible about that. I think it's gonna be longer, and when I post it, I'm gonna do a premiere where I can kind of hang out and chat with you guys. We could talk about what's being showed. Hey guys, Jojo, give it back.
Sorry, yeah. Just talk, man. Okay. That's all you gotta say. Just talk, man.
More videos. I definitely want to do more videos. Which begs the question, is there anything on the channel you would like to see more of? Is there something on the channel that I don't do outside of the wife? Y'all, I know y'all love the missus. We're going to create a separate channel for that. I mean, she could still come and hang out and all that jazz, but as we talked about before, our conversations that we have about certain topics is going to live on another channel. But is there anything I could do more of? Is there anything I don't do on the channel that you would like to see? I'm curious about what you guys think. Listen, Dan, I was talking to this woman about this heated dry on this dishwasher and how it wastes electricity.
No, it does not.
How do you know? How do you know?
It's because I want to use that feature.
Any heat.
It's not wasted if it's accomplishing something that I wanted to accomplish.
Y'all see what I got to deal with? She running the heated. Now, in her defense, she did have a reasonable reason for doing it. I see it on there more often than I would like. But she said she wanted to run the heated dry feature because when the baby is around, the dishes will dry without being able to have it, without having to have it open so the baby can go mess with the dishes. I understand that. But I see it on there a lot more often. It's
like it's only when I run the dishwasher in the daytime.
So maybe you've changed. Maybe you've matured. Maybe you've grown up. You changed. Because I'll be here by myself. Y'all went for a walk and heated dry is on. I'm like, boop, turn it right off.
It's when I run the dishwasher in the daytime because I want the dishes to be dry. Like I don't want to be having to deal with wet dishes.
She was like, I don't want to use a paper towel to wipe off a few plates. And I'm like, why? You gonna run a whole heated element in the dishwasher because you don't want to dry all 3 plates?
Yes.
5 at the most? Like, are you kidding me?
Period. Like bowls, like
Y'all, I don't know. I don't know when Armageddon happens. What we gonna do? I don't know what we gonna do. She gonna be around here acting super brand new. I'm like, you need to relax, man. You need to relax. Let her dry her dishes. Whatever. You right though. You right. I mean, she that was Dominique. Forget you and your happy wife, happy life foolishness. I ain't with that happy wife, happy life stuff. Charge. Show us when you put the panels in series or parallel. Okay. I'll see about that. James said he likes the long videos. I dig that, man. Yes, how to connect them up. I did a video on how to connect panels. I have a video about that. I think it's a really good video, if I don't say so myself. So I have a video on how to connect panels in parallel and in series. I hate when my mustache grows over my lip like that. I don't know how you people who have mustaches deal with it. It's annoying. Now, moderately laced. That is a new name for me. Welcome. I don't know if you changed the name or what, but I certainly don't recognize the name. But thanks for hanging out. What does that mean, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, man. Yes, this woman, man, it's off the chain. But she gives me a lot of leeway. I'm appreciative of that. She could give me a hard time about a lot of stuff, and she does not. But the heat, y'all know the heat is what kills your power stations and runs up your bill. But you know, what we gonna do? And that's that situation where I just felt like, well, I got other stuff running from the power stations. At the end of the day, I'm winning. And if she wanna do it, then that's fine. But I like the logic, you know what I mean? I don't particularly care for the approach. I feel like it's nothing to dry a plate off. I do it all the time. But she don't want to. So
I mean, I do sometimes if I have to.
okay.
But the intent is wash the dishes, in bulk so that they're dry and they all can be put away at the same time. I don't want to necessarily be piecemealing, like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
I like
That's not your thing.
Now taking care of all the clean ones, putting them up. Now I can keep the kitchen well maintained by putting dirty dishes into the dishwasher, filling it up over.
Listen. Don't be creating new reasons to put it on heated dry more. I like the one with the baby. Let's just go with that one. If she's not around, that's when you do it. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, if she's not around, I'll open it up.
Okay.
I'm not into just.
God bless you and your family. Well, welcome, moderately laced. I'm glad you're hanging out. New to the channel and all. You can dry the dishes. I would. Shoot, I don't have no problem with that. Absolutely. I'm not gonna dry all of them because that's silly. They'll dry eventually. I don't like wasted effort, man. I'm not into that. I have never been into that. Never. We were talking recently, and my wife said I was lazy. I feel like I don't like wasted effort, and I don't like doing things that won't yield results. I don't necessarily know, because I was thinking back to like my file room days, and it's like if I needed space, it was nothing for me to like make a project out of moving files around. That's where the whole Claudia Schiffer came from, because that's what I used to call that approach. So I'd move that stuff all the time, but I'd move it strategically. I don't like wasted effort. So in some ways I am lazy, and in some ways I'm strategic. She agrees, you know what I mean? And that's really, that's the tail of the tape right there. I wonder what's an example of me being lazy. Because I ain't into the wasted effort. Lazy good vibes. What's up? Equally wrong. Hey, Diva, what's happening? I use one bucket for washing, one for rinsing, and then I dry them. Oh, and I got to heat my water with the stove. Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting. I dig it. Show us when you put the panels in series. I also need to get a tripod because I don't have a really good tripod to start be able to show this stuff as well as I want to. Um, I also want to get this little camera. It will mount to your chest. I think that that would be a good perspective. Or you could mount it on a hat. I don't wear hats. I have a large head, so that's not my thing. Um, didn't mean to start a fight. Oh, we ain't fighting around here. It's all smiles. We all good. But thanks for the super chats. I appreciate you, sir. um, and I would say we fight fair. So even if you started a fight, it wouldn't. You know what I mean? It'd go decently. We also want to do, and I think I've mentioned this before. I'm sorry to keep repeating myself. We have a family vlog channel that we haven't posted videos to in a long time because of the whole pandemic. Uh, yeah, but more so the pandemic than pregnancy. Um, we also want to do a marriage dip. There was this family. They have a YouTube channel. Their channel is called Belief in Fatherhood, and they did a little joint that would be something like what we would do, kinda, but it was called How Married Are You? And it was a good little joint. Not particularly insightful to us. My wife and I have been married for a very long time, and we consider ourselves to be students of marriage. And they were kind of like fresh in the game comparatively, which is not to say we can't learn anything from them, but I like interesting conversations. So I could listen to them talk about whatever, but that's just how I am. You know what I mean? My wife is like, it doesn't provide any value to me, so I'm not. But it would inform my process. I had talked about some time ago, being an introvert and an intellectual. I don't necessarily, and also a man. I don't necessarily run around having these super interesting thoughts. It's stuff that I'm stimulated by. I may read an article, read a post, see a picture, whatever, hear a conversation, whatever, and then that kind of gets my wheels turning. Or it used to be where I would read a book or a chapter or whatever, and then I'd have these thoughts that I wanted to share. So I consume content because it gets my wheels going. So I don't mind listening to them talk about their particular whatevers, um, their marital issues. So we want to have a thing like that. I think it would be super beneficial. I don't think it's gonna have wide appeal, to be honest, because we're a certain caliber of couple, and that don't resonate with a lot of people. Just to keep it a buck, it don't. Um, we don't necessarily have a whole lot of. We've had some married friends, but it's like the closer you get to us, the more people realize that we like move a little different, and you can't really bring too much foolishness to us and us co-sign it. So then those relationships kind of like they kind of go apart. Um, so just is what it is. So I don't think it's gonna have a whole lot of appeal versus like I don't know if you guys are familiar, but DJ Envy and his wife, I think they have like a podcast or something like that. And it's like, it's cool. It's just kind of common, I guess. It has common appeal. We don't have common appeal. We have, for lack of a better term, like a more sophisticated, how would you say, babe? Can you help me out? I was saying like we don't have a common appeal as a married couple, and I was comparing us to like DJ Envy and his wife. I feel like they have like a more like broad appeal because they're like,
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why we don't have that common or broad of an appeal is because we're nuanced in ways that a lot of people aren't,
mm-hmm.
like in public. You know what I mean? Like outwardly. As far
What
as
you
like
mean?
a lot. Like,
Why don't you come sit down for a quick second? What's up, Rucker?
I just think that, like, for instance, one of the main things that doesn't give us, uh, like, I feel like pigeonhole us into certain sects,
Mm-hmm.
niches, because we have the spiritual aspect, you know what I mean, the Christian aspect, but we're normal, regular believers, you know what I mean? We're not like overly over the top, like super spiritual. You know what I mean? We're not trying to preach something that, what I mean? It's like we're not trying to live something that's not really real. Not saying not all or most do, but as a couple, we're I always stress that we're just normal. We are regular believers. So that kind of alienates, a lot of religious people, because some people are just very, very religious, you know what I mean? Despite knowing the reality between the life that you are leading versus the life that we're supposed to lead versus what religion does to you, you know what I mean? Especially when you're really immersed into like church and church culture, and things like that. But that's also a put off when it comes to people who are not necessarily, believers. Because they don't necessarily understand all of the, tenets of our faith, or why we move the way we move, or they just don't have an appreciation for it. You know what I mean? We call stuff out. People don't like to be called to the carpet. In the large matters and also in the small matters. Like, we call a spade a spade. We don't call anything that's black white. We don't call anything that's blue green. You know what I mean? And I think that there's an appreciation on a surface, and there's some levels beneath it that people can appreciate, but sometimes it hits. There, like, at some point we're gonna come down your path. At some point we're gonna be walking down your street, and we're gonna no longer just be in the neighborhood for you.
People can appreciate it in theory. They don't appreciate it in practice and application. Personally. So it's like, oh, okay, all right. Are you going to do the thing you need to do? You know what I mean? Like,
because we are. And if we're not, we're open about that. Like, I know I should be doing this, but I'm not doing that, and we are very self-reflective. And I feel like there's appeal, but I don't know. But then again, we haven't really put ourselves out there. I feel like there's the possibility that could very well hit more than we anticipate.
That is a possibility.
Because there's that authenticity, and that just, again, call a spade, say what needs to be said because it needs to be said. But I know one thing, I don't want to be known at all. Like, I like the small community. I don't want to go viral. I don't want hundreds and thousands of followers. I don't want none of that. Because I don't think I can handle, the idiots, the trolls, the people who just like, why are you breathing? It's like, why are you breathing only to breathe and live that way and to think? Just people are just trifling. This age that we're in. So. Because I would want to be in the comments and engage and answer questions, and you know what I mean? But then you get that one, then that third, then that fifth, then that seventh. Like, I'll be on Instagram on I love the Instagram reels. And there's just moments where I just be looking at the comments, and they're like, it's a blast most times. But then you always got like that one idiot that's like, why are you here? Like, this was a lighthearted situation. Like, so what? It was, what's it called? What do people say when they're like, oh, that was, like, it wasn't an organic situation. It didn't, like, what's it called when you kind of
stage?
Yeah, stage. So what? It was funny though, right? You know what I mean? Like, so what? It was staged.
I'm a it was staged kind of guy, but I wouldn't say anything.
And that bothers me, because I'll be cracking up. Now I'll be showing him, and he's like, oh, that's staged. Was it funny?
I don't say that.
Was it funny?
I say it was fake.
Or whatever. It's still, it's like you just like completely just. Oh, I hate when you do that. I hate when people are like that. It's like, shut up.
Right. Just say, you old dummy.
Ain't nobody say that like Fred Sanford. Oh, I think it's beeping.
Yeah, it is beeping. It is beeping. Y'all know I don't care. So but I think that's why we haven't done the marriage thing, because that's a little more of an intimate of a view of who we are as people, and then that invites a certain level of critique, and it's just it's interesting. And then, critique is good, but people are idiots. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. People are. And it's just like you don't know nothing about nothing, but you got opinions about what we just share, and our opinions are informed. Your opinions are not informed. I have this thing where I say,
And I love people's opinions when they're like
just
you don't even
rolling.
have to you don't even have to have like an informed opinion. But I don't like unreasonable, like mean people. You know what I mean? People who feel the need to only see the negative in things, who only want to call out the potential negative. Yeah, it's like, no, that's not what this like people who don't ask questions, people who don't give the benefit of doubt, people who don't just automatically think, bigger than just, wanting to zero in on what they think is, negative. It's like, nah, just people are just and I'm the extrovert. Like I love people. You know what I mean? Like I love people. I really, really do. But man, social media has just taken has like really taken something that I think is probably like small when it comes to the dynamic of people and the intricacies of people and that negative side of things, and just like really just blew it up. You know what I mean? Because people don't get down like that in person.
True.
People don't say a quarter of the things that they say online in person.
Yeah.
You know?
Like this is an example. Lee says, I want to say Leela Presti. I'm 42 and been
Wait.
married. I'm 62. He corrected. I'm 62
about
and
to
been
say,
married
wait a minute,
for
hold
40
up
years.
now.
This idea of if it works, leave it alone. See, I feel like I would challenge something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, because is it really working? I hope. One would hope. Because it's like, I'm not saying you're anti-growth, but
I can kind of see the peace in that, like when you just kind of, because I feel like that's kind of how you are. Like you have a very like just let things live, just leave it be. It's not a, you know, your shoulder shrug kind of dude. I can see that.
Okay, true.
Except when you're being challenged.
I just hope it works because people aren't always honest about how they feel and stuff like that. So I hope it really works. If it really works, then if it's good money, then leave it alone. You don't need to complicate it. That's for sure. That's why I haven't used Facebook for 2 years now. Yeah, I here's the thing about Facebook. I didn't get on Facebook for the reason that Facebook intended. So I really don't have those issues. And I have specifically curated a Facebook experience that is one, boring, but not intentionally. It's just like I don't have a flair for all the foolishness. So, I may post something and I don't get a whole lot of engagement because it's like, it's thought out. It's concise and to the point. I try to remove stuff that is inflammatory and get people arguing for the sake of argument and all that jazz. And it's just like, so my Facebook experience is really muted. But I believe in hiding people, and before they came out with that hide option, I would just unfriend you. So what, we went to high school, my bad, I don't want to see your stuff on my wall. So I unfriended you. I unfriended some people, and I feel like if you unfriend somebody, you shouldn't send them a friend request again. So I ain't going back. And then when people do that to me, if they unfriend me and they try to send me a friend request, I say the Eminem joint. I be like, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. I ain't no second chances. And that's not a hard line rule though. All right, Facebook is going down the tubes from where it used to be. I feel like it's all about your people, though, right? It has to be about that. That's all it's about. The people you're connected with. But I get it. You know what I mean? I think it's a tool for me. It serves a certain purpose. We had an issue in our marriage about Facebook because I spent a lot of time on Facebook. Um, And I think what it was is I was missing connection, like intentional connection. Being an introvert, wanting to have interesting conversations, I could find myself kind of scrolling Facebook to find something that was interesting and intellectually stimulating and stuff like that. So it becomes then a game. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not really here for y'all per se. I'm here for like an engaging conversation. So that's why when groups was a thing. There was like a group or two that I'd be in that would be interesting. Um, just to give you a little history, on Black Planet, which was the site me and my wife met on. I used to go on there in this group called Intel. I guess it was short for intelligent or whatever. But they would have like really good conversations in there, and that stuff was so enjoyable, man. As an introvert, I love a good conversation, an intentional conversation. I'm not with the fluff. I mean, y'all know what it is. Um, so I believe that Facebook is what you make it. I actually caught up with a high school friend, young lady who I was happy to see, um, like genuinely happy to see. And I was like, if you gone without Facebook all this time, you probably not gonna like it, and you're not gonna stick around on because ain't nothing for you here, especially with the people like you'll come into contact just because y'all went to school together, because that's the majority of the connections, high school and college. um, and she like deleted her account. She bounces in and out, but I knew she wasn't gonna stay long. Let's see. I unfriended Facebook. Yeah, Twitter is toxic. But as you said, take more on social media than in the face because they feel as though they can get caught. They can't get caught being miles away. Bullying is high on social media. That's interesting. I dumped Facebook 2.5 months ago for personal peace. I feel better mentally and physically too. That's interesting. But you know what's interesting about that? I'm not necessarily going to attribute it to you. I feel like sometimes, listen, first and foremost, you got to do what you got to do. Um, I know some people who can't walk away from the conversation. They can't not engage because they too feel strongly about situations. I think when what was it? Was it? I don't know if it was when Hillary lost or I mean it had to be that. But I didn't like I wasn't necessarily a supporter of Bernie Sanders because I feel like dude was old. Um, Stop, mama. Yeah, leave it alone. Um, but I just felt like it was foul how they did my understanding of how they did Bernie Sanders. You know what I mean? Because he had the populace, he had the steam to make a move, but I feel like they kind of steamrolled and the DNC did him dirty. That's my understanding of what happened, and I had an opinion about that. And I think I said something to the effect of, I don't know what I said. It was many years ago, but something to the effect of like we kind of got what we deserved or something like that. And this chick was like, "You think we deserve Trump and all this jazz?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I mean," she was really emotional about it. So I was just like, "Yeah, I can see that you're annoyed by this." So I'm about a conversation. Because it's like if I can't have a real conversation with you, I'm not gonna argue with you. Why are we talking? Yeah, it's a waste of my time. I value my time, so I ain't got nothing to say. So that I do this all the time. Like I'm about. Oh, really? Let's see. What happens when you overpanel and the watts exceed the maximum input of a power station? Will it damage it, shut down, or what? It depends on the power station. Most power stations are good enough that they have these protections in them. If you go to a polished power station page on Amazon or whatever, they'll talk about like overvolt protection, overheating protection, cold weather protection, or whatever. It depends on the power station. So if you got something cheaper, you may want to tread carefully. I mean, you could just straight up damage a power station because you're not paying attention to the volts and stuff like that. But they usually have stuff built into them to stop them from being damaged. It's a fair point. Trump is literally the definition of America, a segment of America. Hey, what's up, Regional Sky Girl? It's like you can't agree to disagree anymore. People too involved, and yet still sit back and do nothing. Yeah, I don't have the capacity because it's like I I come to a situation like, man, I want this thing to change. I want to try and solve the problem, and I realize that there's this idea of like, is this energy moving us towards something? And like my wife in marriage, we've talked about this idea of, she'll say like, you didn't care enough. It's not that you didn't care, but you didn't care enough to do something different or to act a certain way or to be thoughtful or whatever. And I find there's merit in that statement. And I'll say sometimes, like, as it relates to these situations, like, I don't care enough to be able to try and change that. One is could be proximity. You know what I mean? When somebody gets shot in, some town that's many states over, like, I don't know what to do in that situation. So it's like I know that it's like when somebody says they love you, show me. It's an action. And what I mean, I know this is hard to comprehend, but it's like I know that I can't affect any change in that situation. So the outrage to me is, it's for you. You know what I mean? It's like you mad and upset and angry, and I get that. That's justified, and it's justifiable. I get it 100%. But me personally, it's like I don't have the emotional capital to like be a certain way. And I'm not saying I don't feel certain ways when this stuff happens, but it's just like I understand that. Like, look, man, you know, the police situation is like, there's a training issue, there's a culture issue there. Like, we can't keep addressing this as a one-off situation. You know what I mean? It's like we're not gonna get anywhere like that. There's literally like this stuff. If it can happen across the United States of America, then we're dealing with a larger issue. It's not just happening in Missouri or Chicago or Mississippi or DC. It's literally happening all over. So I feel like we need to approach that systematically. And so I know that my outrage or whatever doesn't produce a solution. My personal, I'm not talking about nobody else. That doesn't serve me to get to a place where I feel like we're moving forward in a way. Will you put your power stations on a rack or stand? Are they good on concrete as you have them? I think they're fine. You don't want to put them in like the grass. I don't ever put my power stations on the ground. I'll sit them on like one of my kids' skateboards. My wife was trying to throw out a plate. And I was like, I can use that plate. Because at my garage, if it goes this far, a part of it has a little bit of the insulation or the strip, the weather strip is removed. That works out in my favor because cables can run under that weather strip. So water can come in. We need to get our driveway addressed in that regard. But water sometimes leaks in and then it goes into the drain that we have in the garage. So the plate, I can literally sit little things in there on the plate in the garage and they won't get wet. I'm sorry, excuse me. So I wanted to use it. It's down there now. And she was like, you don't get rid of that plate. I don't want the kids and they could play with it and break it and it's dangerous. And I was just like, as a dad, I was just like, okay. But one thing that I learned is that if there's a concern in my wife's mind, that concern doesn't go away just because I say, well, you shouldn't be concerned. It has to be addressed in some capacity. And I learned that from a book called For Men Only, which is an excellent read. It's a little small book, simple, quick read. And there's a companion called For Women Only. That book was super helpful to us in our marriage. It's written by I think Dale and Shanti Feldheim. FELDHAHN, I believe. But if you type in for men only, for women only, you'll find it. Great books. Oh yeah, I think I found the 5521 plug that fit that big blue power station, but not. Well, it's 5525, so I hope it works. I'm gonna try and get that sent to you this week, man. I suck. I'm a procrastinator. I suck at life. Pocket size book, perfect. It's great. It's great, MJ. It's a great read. It has a spiritual foundation. They are Christians, but it's still good. I don't want to butt it, but I know everybody ain't no Christian, so um, it's a good book. Hey, Kyle Dog Connoisseur, good to see you. How you doing? How are things going? I hope they're going well, or I hope they're going better than they were, or I hope they're going the way they're going, but God is giving you comfort. Because man, life is interesting, very interesting. I'm gonna wrap this thing up soon if y'all don't have any questions. I look forward to the live streams with my wife. I think that that's gonna be fun. Um, we were originally going to call it TRR Live, but I think we would. I like the idea of like live with Dell and Ive, and I didn't like the fact. Let me say this: I didn't like the fact that her name was first. Um, but not on some interesting stuff. And she also agreed. She verbalized it before I did. She was like, "Yeah, I don't like that your name's not first as the husband." I was like, "Yeah, I agree, but it has a better ring with that way." But I think that's kind of the name we're gonna go with. Maybe we'll try and do something this Sunday and officially launch the channel. Maybe next Sunday or something like that. Really good. God is on the throne. Hey, I dig that. Looking forward to it. I like live with Dylan. I know I like it too. Okay, so back to solar stuff. When I charge my Bluetti AC200P by AC, it goes up to 465 to charge. Is it safe to say I would need solar panels 400 watts or more? No, you could. Well, the AC200P needs to have panels in series or a 24-volt panel because it needs to meet the threshold of I think like 35 volts. Thank you, Dominique Unique, Shanti Feldheim, and Jeff Feldheim. I mean, really, really good books, really practical. One of the examples, just a quick deviation that she gave or they gave in the book that was super helpful to me, is they used an example of a computer. They say if your wife's brain is like a computer, husbands have the ability to close a window and be done with that particular thing. We're no longer concerned about it. They say at best, a woman at best, what she can do is minimize it, but it never goes away. If something is unresolved, it needs to be resolved. At best, she can minimize it, but it has to be addressed. And it was just like, man, that was, hey, you know what I mean? I'm out here in these streets. It's like super, super helpful.
Where's this from? I'm like, you better talk.
Well, I talked about for men only and for women only, and then
Yeah, I
Dominique
love those
Unique
books.
looked up the authors for me, so that was super
Oh, you didn't
helpful.
remember the Feldheims? You could have asked me.
I did. I said his name was like Dale or something like that. I don't know. I remember Feldheim, Shanti Feldheim,
Yeah,
and
Shanti
I thought it was
You know, I
Dave.
don't remember Jeff, but you know.
See what I mean? Jeff, he's not memorable. Jeff need to grow up. So to this question about the solar,
Okay, back to solar.
right? You can put any amount of solar, but the AC200P can take up to 700 watts. So, you know, you could do 4 100-watt panels in series.
Oh, hey, cow dog, connoisseur.
You could do 2 200-watt panels in series. You could do one 24-volt 200-watt panel. I knew he was going to call me while I was live. You want to talk to Nate?
Sure.
Okay. The phone's going to die soon,
no,
but you never. Don't put it on speaker right now, babe. No. Take it off speaker. Thank you. Any questions about solar or anything else? I don't think y'all answer me about anything you'd like to see more of on the channel. Anything you don't see on the channel at all that you'd like to see. Y'all don't be answering my questions, man. Y'all be living a thug life. Let's see. Okay, I was thinking about the Q-Cell 350 or 400 watt. Listen, if you could get a 350 watt or 400 watt, check your used market as well, because you could probably get panels for really cheap. Day One Fishing got like a 300 watt panel for like $100. I was jealous, but I had to do what I had to do. I had to pay $250 for my Renogy. It was brand new though, but I didn't have any other options. Some people just live in places that have used panels for sale all the time because solar installs are. Did you know? Somebody was telling me that if you had to take solar panels off of your, Wayne was telling me that if you had to take solar, was it Wayne? No, it's Set Tight. I think Set Tight was telling me this idea of like we don't have a process to recertify panels. Like panels have to be approved to be put on your roof. And if you had to take those panels off of your roof or something after a certain amount of years, you can't put them back on. So maybe that's why people are always selling panels. I thought it was just because, and it probably is, I thought it was just because people were updating or upgrading their systems because panels keep getting cheaper and more efficient, marginally. But, as they get smaller, you can fit more power on your roof. I thought that was really interesting. But check your marketplace, check Facebook Marketplace, check Craigslist. You can even check OfferUp, I believe, and see if there's any solar panels that you can get that are used. Tread carefully because you don't want something super old just for peace of mind. I mean, panels are supposed to be able to last 20 years, but I don't want something that came out in like 2018 and we're in 2022. You had panels for 4 years. I don't want those panels because I feel like that tech is a little, that's how I am. I don't know. But if it's like, 2022 and they had them like a year or two and you could get those panels for like $50, $70, $80, $100, $150 compared to buying like, Amazon type panels, that's a steal. So yeah. Let's see. Sweet first lady. Don't be calling her little first lady. Honestly, you cover so much good content for both experience and as learning folks. No complaints here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. Look at OfferUp. I've looked at OfferUp in the Facebook market. So you sound like you're in the same position as me. You may have to go new. You say you were looking at QCell. QCell is a name that I recognize. Um, you sound like you're on a good path. You know, that. What area are you in? Because like Santan Solar or whatever, some of these solar warehouses, they have places and some people happen to be near them. I'm not, but some people are. They don't. New Jersey. Okay. Monday and Wednesday, babe. Are the folding panels comparable to the rigids? Um, Interesting. I mean, it's different. They have different purposes, right? Folding panels are for portability, not necessarily longevity and being outside because they can be waterproof or rainproof or whatever. But rigid panels are for outside. They're meant to be on roofs and installed and, to get hammered and stuff like that. So, but if a solar panel is rated for 100 watts, it's rated for 100 watts. Now, the quality of the panel comes into play. Like that X-Tar seems to be the most efficient panel out there. Maybe second would be like the Jackery. Babe, babe, can you help a brother out? Um, so I don't know what you mean by comparable. it all depends. I mean, you got some budget panels that don't put out some of the same power as quality panels. They serve different purposes. I that's where I go with it. All right, I'm gonna end on this note. And it is political. I was driving home and I saw a truck, stereotype on deck, and it had they had F Biden on the truck. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, what Biden do that you guys say F him? It's like that was weird to me. it's so polarized in this country. Why you at any point? Why do you need to cuss out a president? The only president in my life that I feel like kind of needed to be cussed out was Trump because dude was wilding so much. But Biden don't need to be cussed out. Obama ain't need to be cussed out. Bush ain't need to be cussed out. His daddy ain't need to be cussed out. Clinton ain't need to be cussed out. I'm like, why are we cussing out? That's so wild to me. And I cannot fathom this idea of like people saying, let's go, Brandon. And these are some people who claim that they love Jesus. And it's like, you know what that means. Why are you saying that? I'll be seeing people with that on that. I'm so blown by that people behave in such a way. I had somebody, another thing as it relates to this idea of pointing the middle finger at somebody. I ran a red light by mistake. Like, nobody's really out here running red lights on purpose. I mean, some people, sure. But for the most part, when people get in your way, guys, they usually get in your way because of a mistake. I mean, there are exceptions and people are jerks and stuff like that. But I had somebody point their middle. They like pulled up on side of me and pointed their middle finger at me. I was like, look, it's my bad. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to run a red light on purpose. My bad. People make mistakes. But we got to cuss them out. Like to the point where you guys say F me? Like, whoa, that's so weird. And there's something else that kind of came to mind. Like, we like to look at America as this beacon, right? And in some ways it is. But sometimes I watch this channel called Going with the Winds, and other like the Outdoor Gear Review. And they just talk about how people just like trash the beach or people trash the forest. I know people who deal with BLM land. This is kind of like up our alley. And when I say our, I feel like people who are into solar typically are into like off-grid stuff and typically are into like kind of getting away from people because people be wilding. But it's just like, man, I feel like, geez, like why as a society do we behave this way? A Christian country. It's just like, man, this guys be wildin'. Like, clean up after yourself. Why are you cussing me out? Like, let's get a grip. I guess make America great again, right? Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go, Brandon. I thought you would talk about that. The name calling on both sides is stupid. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird to me. Like, I don't know, man. What did any president do? I mean, they have their missteps and stuff like that, but to the point where you hate them, the other party. I mean, we've kind of gone into a wild time now, but most of us, I'm relatively young, especially in political years, but most of us has been around to a point where it's like this stuff went unchecked. And because it went unchecked, it's just continuing to get out of control. I feel like right around when that Tea Party stuff started happening, like it was just on and popping. And it's just weird, man. It's really weird. Thanks, Darlene. I appreciate that. James, what's your thoughts on that? Did you have any? Let me tell y'all something. I will end with this. I believe I'll end with this. Wrangle Star is a popular channel on YouTube. His content is not necessarily my cup of tea. He has sometimes he'll cover a topic that I'm interested in. It's what I mean. I'm indifferent towards it, but it's not my thing. I don't subscribe to him. I don't watch his content. He had a video about the police, And you know, it's interesting to see this idea of like groupthink, where one, a lot of people subscribe to the same thought, and me on being on the other side, I consider myself like, I guess, a demopendent. I'm registered independent, but I typically lean towards like social, whatever, you know, helping people, being kind. But you know, the Democrats are off the chain, so I can't rock with that. I also have like a conservative spin, a conservationist spin more than a conservative, you know, being smart with money and so on and so forth. So I kind of, but Republicans are off the chain because it's like Democrats care too much and Republicans don't care at all, or they don't care enough. That's kind of like how I would sum up the two parties. Um, man, yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought. Just to keep it a buck. Um, dang, I wish I had that, but I lost it. But anyway, I feel like the stuff is getting out of control. Oh, the Wrangle Star video. He basically had an issue. He took a position that I didn't expect him to take because I assumed, I was presumptive, because we all get sucked into this media game, some more than others. I have a very like um broader view on things because I seek to understand opposing viewpoints. Like I have books by conservatives, I have books by liberals. Um, I've consumed some Fox News content, I've consumed some MSNBC content. I seek to understand because I feel like unless you understand something, you can't have a conversation with people, and that's a part of what we're dealing with now. People, it's like you don't you can't talk to people who talk about like what's the matter with Kansas. It's like you can't talk to people who have a rugged individualism, a rugged independence about their government not serving them well. They don't want the government to serve them well unless calamity strikes. So the conversation is a non-starter to begin with because you don't understand what those people value, and vice versa. But he had this position, and I was shocked by the position. And my wife was like, you know what? I want to read those comments. And the comments were full of reasonable, well-reasoned, thoughtful people who were not like whatever they told the line of like, look, man, these police is off the chain. This stuff needs to be reformed. People are ridiculous. Bad apples need to be dealt with. And it was just like, it was refreshing. And that's what me and my wife were talking about, this idea of like, when you kind of live in your silo, you don't get exposed to those reasonable people. And because reasonable people realistically move quieter than the unreasonable people, we think we're on this opposites. And we buy into it on certain issues because those issues are put out there to divide us against each other, to make us argue with each other. But for the most part, I like what Joe Scarborough used to say. He said, America is largely a center right country. We don't live on these extremes. Most people are in the center right. And I understand that logic. I watched Morning Joe. You know what I mean? It's like that was one of the shows that I like to consume. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that there was a presumption there, and I was pleasantly surprised that the comments didn't go a different way. You all should check out the Wrangle Star video on the police. It was really good. On that note, I'll see what y'all talking about, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Let's see. Yeah, there is no middle no more. It's sad about the Tea Party. I was walking through a jet bridge in Salt Lake City a few months ago, and I saw a bumper sticker in the jet bridge. He said, "Let's go, Brandon." I was stunned. Yeah. Thanks, Siobhan. I'm sorry I took a phone call and missed this conversation. Ronald Reagan was the best president in my life. Hey, I dig it. Black folks would typically disagree with that because of some things that were impacting us. I only have one vote and can't change what Pennsylvania voters choose. Interesting. I agree with that. I feel like when people try to guilt me into voting, I vote, but you're not going to guilt me into voting. If something happens that we didn't want to happen and 200,000 people voted and I didn't vote or whatever, I'm only 1/200,000th responsible. You're not gonna make me responsible for the fact that the political system has people who are apathetic, unenthused, uninspired because these political candidates are just like meh. Like that, you're not gonna put that on me not voting, and you're not gonna put that on people not voting. It's like, do better, be better. Yeah, we have a responsibility collectively, but don't try and guilt me into the foolishness. If you want every voice to be heard, make it compulsory. Make it so people have to vote. Um, I'm not necessarily into that because that kind of goes against the ideals. But listen. All right. All right, y'all be beautiful. I'm out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me and the missus and chatting and snapping and trapping. Until next time. Oh, I wanted to give away the Mylan. Let's do it next live. I'm kind of sick of the Mylan, but I still use it from time to time as a power dump. Next live, we'll give away the Mylan. So try to be on the next live and then comment on the next live. I'm trying to figure out a way to where more people who are in the subscriber group can win. So I may make a post in my next video. I may make a blip on it. I may do a short kind of giving instructions or something. I got to figure it out because I know live is not everybody's cup of tea, and I respect that. But the people who are on the live are most engaged. So maybe it works out. Hey, it's I've holla.